We all want to be entertained. That's why good movies have mass appeal, and top actors can pull in a massive amount of money. Acting is one of the most ruthlessly competitive industries in the world. But once you make it big, you can make buku bucks. Here are the top 10 richest actors in the world. Number 10. One of Hollywood's most successful and most controversial figures, Mel Gibson has an astonishing net worth of $425 million. His first significant roles were working in the Mad Max series right after he finished college in the late 70s. He became a Hollywood star in 1987, playing the role of Martin Riggs in Lethal Weapon. Gibson was soon starring in blockbuster after blockbuster, including Maverick, Braveheart, Ransom, The Patriot, and What Women Want. Gibson, who founded Icon Productions, has also successfully directed and produced a number of films, including Apocalypto and The Passion of the Christ, which brought in over $600 million worldwide. And get this, Gibson's fortune used to be twice what it is today, approximately $850 million. But in 2009, his wife, Robin Moore, filed for divorce. The $425 million divorce settlement is the highest in the history of Hollywood. But with a net worth still close to $500 million, we think Mel will find a way to survive. Tied for number 10, we also have Adam Sandler coming in with a gigantic fortune of $425 million. Comedy has to be one of the hardest areas of Hollywood to hit a home run. But this funny guy has managed to hit a grand slam, building a full-fledged fortune. Born in Brooklyn, New York, Sandler first came onto the scene making small cameo appearances in The Cosby Show and the MTV show Remote Control. After graduating college, Sandler toured the country performing stand-up, and he eventually caught the attention of Dennis Miller, who helped him land a job as a writer and actor on Saturday Night Live. That was the big break Sandler needed, and he soon achieved fame for a variety of the comedic characters he portrayed. He went on to appear in the movies Coneheads and Airheads, and then his first starring role, Billy Madison, which was a huge hit. Sandler followed that up with many more box office successes, including Waterboy, The Wedding Singer, Happy Gilmore, Big Daddy, The Longest Yard, and 50 First Dates. The multi-talented comic also worked as a producer on many of these, which helped him pull in even bigger paydays. Number 9. Growing up, Kevin Hart's father was a hardcore cocaine addict and constantly in and out of prison. Hart turned to humor as a coping mechanism and to provide some sense of comfort to his family, ultimately leading to a monstrous net worth of $450 million. Hart began his career performing at amateur nights at local Philadelphia comedy clubs, but was actually booed off stage on several occasions. The problem, Hart soon discovered, was that he was trying too hard to imitate other comedians. Eventually, he developed his own effective style, crafting and mastering his own unique comedic delivery, and Hart began to develop a serious following. Hollywood soon took notice, and Hart began to land movie roles, including Soul Plane and Little Fockers. Since then, Hart has starred in dozens of movies and TV shows, while still adhering to an extremely demanding national tour. In 2018, Hart created a comedy streaming service called Laugh Out Loud, which also includes a radio show. He also has lucrative endorsement and partnership deals with Samsung, Wrangler, AT&T, and Mountain Dew. Number 8. Born in a small village in Austria, the Terminator and Governator, who is a 7-time Mr. Olympia bodybuilding champion, has bulked up his net worth to the tune of $470 million. At the peak of his career, Arnold Schwarzenegger was raking in $20 to $30 million per film. This legendary actor actually became a millionaire at the age of 25 from his real estate investments before he ever became a star. He did this by investing his winnings from bodybuilding competitions into apartment complexes, trading up to larger properties after each sale. Today, his real estate portfolio alone is worth in excess of $100 million. Arnold first began to get traction in Hollywood during the early 80s, playing Conan in Conan the Barbarian. But his big breakthrough was playing the Terminator in James Cameron's 1984 smashing box office success. Schwarzenegger followed that up with Running Man, Commando, Predator, Total Recall, and Twins. Even though he ultimately left acting to become the governor of California, he still earned over $400 million in salary alone. That kind of cash easily makes Schwarzenegger one of the richest actors in the world. Number 7. The son of two artists, Robert De Niro has turned his acting career into a masterpiece, accumulating a colossal fortune of $500 million. This began when De Niro was just 10 years old, starring as the Cowardly Lion in his school's rendition of The Wizard of Oz. At the age of 20, De Niro secured his first legitimate acting role in the film The Wedding Party, directed by Brian De Palma. But he really started to gain momentum when he starred as a dying baseball player in Bang the Drum Slowly. Next up, De Niro starred in Mean Streets, which began a decades-long relationship with director Martin Scorsese. The next year, in 1974, De Niro won his first Academy Award, portraying a young Don Vito Corleone in The Godfather Part 2. This blockbuster firmly established him as an A-list superstar, and De Niro has since gone on to be a part of more hit movies than we have time to mention here, including Raging Bull, Cape Fear, Goodfellas, Casino, and Heat. Aside from acting, De Niro is co-founder of the very successful high-end Nobu restaurant chain, which reportedly generates hundreds of millions of dollars every year. Number 6. One of the most iconic actors of the past 25 years, George Clooney has an awe-inspiring net worth of $510 million. Born in Kentucky, Clooney ultimately made his way to LA to pursue a career in acting. His charm and good looks landed him minor roles on several television shows, including Roseanne, Golden Girls, and The Facts of Life. But his breakthrough came portraying Dr. Doug Ross on the show ER. By the late 90s, George had arrived in a big way, but there were still big box office successes in store, including Ocean's 11 and Gravity. Clooney has earned approximately $200 million in movie salary alone. He has also earned another $40 million from appearing in commercials for Nespresso. In 2013, he co-founded the tequila brand Casamigos, which he later sold in 2017 for a whopping $1 billion, of which George pocketed over $200 million. One of the sexiest men alive, according to People magazine, Clooney also has one of the sexiest fortunes of any actor alive. Number 5. A worldwide phenomenon who commands one of the highest salaries in Hollywood, Tom Cruise has a whopping net worth of $600 million. A former jock, Cruise developed an interest for acting in high school when a knee injury forced him off the wrestling team, and he then won the lead role in his school's rendition of Guys and Dolls. Soon after he finished high school, Cruise was off to NYC and then LA to pursue a career in acting, where he began landing small roles in the early 80s. His first bona fide hit came with Risky Business, where he played Joel Peterson, the high school senior who decides to open up a brothel while his parents are on vacation. The film grossed $63 million on a $6 million budget. From there, his career took off like an F-14 Tomcat, and in 1986, Cruise landed the role that made him larger than life, playing Pete Mitchell in Top Gun. On a budget of $15 million, Top Gun grossed over $350 million and was 1986's highest grossing movie. And Cruise was just getting started, with many other big hits to come, including Cocktail, Rain Man, The Color of Money, Interview with a Vampire, and A Few Good Men. In 1996, Cruise both starred in and produced Mission Impossible, which grossed over $450 million worldwide. Then there was Jerry Maguire, which grossed another $275 million on a $50 million budget. There are so many hits, it's hard to keep track, but some of the others include Vanilla Sky, Minority Report, The Last Samurai, War of the Worlds, Jack Reacher, and more Mission Impossible movies. But Cruise's highest grossing movie happened in 2022, with the follow-up to Top Gun more than 35 years later. The sequel, Top Gun: Maverick, has already grossed over $1 billion worldwide, of which Cruise has taken home over $100 million. Number 4. Known as the King of Bollywood, Shah Rukh Khan is a famous Indian actor and film producer with an extraordinary net worth of $770 million. If you live in the Western Hemisphere, you've probably never heard of him. In fact, the LA Times called Khan the biggest movie star you've never heard of, perhaps the world's biggest movie star. Despite his lack of notoriety in Hollywood, Khan still collects over $30 million for each and every film he stars in, and has become one of the richest actors on the planet. Number 3. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson went from star wrestler to world-famous beloved actor in record time, and this has generated an enormous $800 million fortune. Johnson was a part of the Miami Hurricanes' 1991 championship football team, but injuries curtailed his career, and he soon decided to follow in the footsteps of his pro wrestler father, Rocky Johnson. In the late 90s and early 2000s, Johnson established himself as a WWE fan favorite, becoming the heavyweight champion 10 times and headlining many of the WWE's most watched pay-per-view events. Johnson's first movie was in 2001 when he appeared in The Mummy Returns. The next year, he starred in his first leading role in The Scorpion King, and from there, it was off to the races, with Johnson starring in one box office hit after another, including San Andreas, Race to Witch Mountain, The Game Plan, Hercules, and Jumanji, as well as several films in the extremely high-grossing Fast and Furious franchise. Johnson also owns 2 notable brands, his energy drink company Zoa and his tequila Terramana, both of which are extremely successful, in large part due to the massive reach of his Instagram account, which currently has over 350 million followers. And then there have been the lucrative endorsement deals with Ford, Apple, and Under Armour. Johnson has been cooking up some serious cash flow for years, and it's only a matter of time before he becomes a billionaire. Number 2. Tyler Perry is a famous actor, writer, director, and producer with an incredible net worth of $1 billion. Perry, who was born in New Orleans, was abused by several family members during his childhood. He soon turned to writing as an outlet to escape the pain. This proved to be a blessing, as Perry ultimately wrote several hit musicals and plays, including I Know I've Been Changed. In fact, before filming a single movie in Hollywood, Perry had sold over $100 million worth of tickets to his plays. Perry's first film production was Diary of a Mad Black Woman, which grossed over $200 million. Then came Medea's Family Reunion, which grossed another $65 million. Perry followed this up with 13 Medea installments, and those films have grossed a total of over $700 million. Perry has also seen some serious success with his television shows, including Tyler Perry's House of Pain and Meet the Browns. In 2006, Perry founded the Atlanta-based film production studio, Tyler Perry Studios, which is one of the largest studios in the world. It has been reported that large companies like Amazon and Netflix pay upwards of $100 million per year to rent the facilities in order to film and produce their own productions. Number 1. This iconic comic, who was the star of his own long-running namesake sitcom, has a gargantuan net worth of $1.1 billion. While attending Queens College in New York, Jerry Seinfeld developed an interest in comedy and was soon hitting open mic nights every chance he got. But it took close to 15 years of paying his dues as a stand-up comedian before he would ever star in his own television show. His big opportunity came when he appeared on The Johnny Carson Show in 1981. This led to many other appearances on similar programs, including Late Night with David Letterman, where he began to gain comedic notoriety. In 1989, Seinfeld partnered with Larry David, who formerly wrote for Saturday Night Live, to create a pilot, which was initially called The Seinfeld Chronicles. Their pitch was a success, and Seinfeld earned $100,000 for the 5-episode first season. By season 4, Seinfeld was pulling in $100,000 per episode, and by season 7, the amount ballooned to $500,000 per episode. For season 9, it doubled, netting Jerry $1 million per episode. But here's the kicker. When David and Seinfeld first negotiated their deal with NBC, they secured an ownership interest in the show, including a portion of the profits generated by syndication. In any given year, they still earn $40 to $50 million in royalties. In fact, the only reason Larry David came just shy of making this top 10 list is because he lost half of his fortune after he divorced in 2007. Nevertheless, Seinfeld is the show that keeps on giving, both for the viewers around the world who continue to enjoy it, as well as its comedic creators who continue to cash in big time, especially Jerry, who went from a traveling stand-up comic to becoming the richest actor in the world. If you enjoyed this video, then you will probably like this one too, the top 10 richest NBA players still playing. Click the image appearing on your screen right now, and I will meet you there momentarily.